In the next 20 to 40 years, fossil fuels are going to run out. This raises some questions like what's going to happen? What's going to happen to our cars? Are we still going to be able to drive them since there's not going to be any oil anymore? And what will happen to our energy? We can all relate to this because we all use fossil fuels. We all use energy. We turn on the lights. We use cars. We use everything. And fossil fuels create energy and oil as well. I myself use fossil fuels a lot. I have a car. I drive everywhere. Even if the liquor store is like a block away, I'll drive over there. I leave the lights on in my room because I'm scared at night. I'm scared of La Llorona. And also, I leave the AC full blast because it's a really hot day, you know? Fossil fuels are a primary source, and everybody uses it around the world. But the thing is that fossil fuels are beginning to run out. So we have to come up with some solutions of how we can use other things besides fossil fuels. I will discuss what's happening to fossil fuels, the effects of fossil fuels, and a solution to fossil fuels. According to Bill Hopwood on the socialistalternative.org website updated on July 6, 2006, the world economy is hooked on fossil fuels, oil, gas, and coal. This dependency cannot last. All these fossil fuels were formed millions of years ago, and once all of them are used up, they cannot be replaced. So in other words, these fossil fuels are made up from deposits of things that once lived, like dinosaurs, humans, so it all accumulated, and we all used it once cars started coming out, we all used it up. So actually, fossil fuels take centuries to form, so we can't wait another million years for us to be like, okay, now we have more fossil fuels, you know? And we use actually 38% of the fossil fuels is oil, 24% is coal, and 23% is natural gas. 9% is renewable like solar energy, vegetable oil, and 6% is nuclear. Annually, the U.S. uses about a day they use about 19,000 barrels. That's a day only. And the U.S. actually uses about 25% of the oil refineries, but we only own about 3% of them. According to the insider.org, in years ahead, wars will be fought over oil and fuel as the oil-dependent superpowers struggle to preserve our unsustainable lifestyles. So in other words, more wars are going to be fought. Why do you think we went to war with Iraq? It wasn't only because, 9/11. They have a lot of oil over there. So what makes you think now? If the war would happen, look what happened to us. We went through a depression. We're actually in recession right now because of the war. And what makes you think we're not going to fight because of the oil, because all the oil that's being lost? Now that I talked to you about the problem, which is oil, the fossil fuels that are running out, I'm going to talk to you about the effects of fossil fuels. One of the effects of fossil fuels is that it's not only just because we're running out of fossil fuels that we're going to start a war. It's also when we burn fossil fuels, the extraction of it, like the burning of it, it causes acid rain, and a lot of that acid rain kills the plants. So what's going to happen to our crops? Our crops are going to be dead. Now that I talked to you about the effects of fossil fuels, I'm going to talk to you about some solutions. In the January 27, 2011 Los Angeles Times, Tiffany Huzu stated that President Obama has grand plans for Green Nation, 1 million electric car vehicles on the road within 4 years, and clean power sources providing 80% of the nation's energy by 2035. So since fossil fuels are running out, we have to come up with ways so we won't have to have our $60,000 Mercedes there just sitting down and not being used. There are alternative ways. We could buy electrical cars. They're electrical powered cars. They cost about $100,000. I know that sounds like a lot, but that's the same cost you would be spending on a $60,000 Mercedes that runs on gas, and gas is running out. And there's also cheaper ones. There's some that are under $6,000. So if you don't want to spend for a $100,000 one, there's $6,000 ones. There's also hybrid cars like the Prius. Many of you might know Prius. It runs on gasoline and it also runs on electric, so it switches off. And those cost about roughly about $20,000. And there's also cars that, let's say you don't want to buy another car, you could actually switch your car to use other kinds of oils. There's ethanol oil, which it uses corn oil, or there's biodiesel. So you could switch your car if you don't want to spend $20,000 on a car. There's also other kinds of energy sources like wind energy. Those are like wind turbines. If you walk by like the middle of nowhere, you see those big windmills where they're like, those actually produce a lot of energy. When the air blows on it, there's kinetic energy that kinetic energy is trapped and used for electricity and other mechanical powers. There's also another, and they say it's actually cheaper than fossil fuels. So if you think about it, they might be a little expensive, like let's say 1.2 million or 2.6 million to get a wind turbine. But I'm not telling you guys to go get a wind turbine. You know, those are for like larger companies like Edison Company and stuff. And there's also solar panel energies. There's solar panels, which they get solar energy. There's always gonna be sun. There's always gonna be sunlight, even when it's cloudy day. And those can cost up to like $10,000 to $12,000, but don't worry, don't be scared. You're not gonna spend it all out of your pocket. There are grants from the government. They give you grants so you could actually pay for them. And there's also rebates. So if you pay for it, they'll give you money back. And if you actually give your energy, like let's say to your neighborhood, the government's actually paying you for that. So it actually, works out. So I talked to you guys about how the problem is of fossil fuels, that we're running out. It's only another 20 years from now that we're gonna run out, and if we don't do nothing about it, what are we gonna do? We're not gonna just sit there and not do anything. I talked to you guys about the effects of fossil fuels burning, how they're causing harm to Earth itself, and also there might be wars ahead of us. And I also talked to you guys about how you guys can actually make a change and actually get, either if you want to buy your $20,000 Prius would actually help you, or if you guys want to actually change your old vehicle into one that uses vegetable oil. And last but not least, many of you are probably wondering why we haven't switched since fossil fuels are running out. You guys are probably wondering right now, like, well, there's a problem. Why haven't we done it yet? First of all, fossil fuel is really cheap. It's very cheap. Second of all, we've used it for so many years now, about 100 years, that it's so hard to switch from one thing to another. And, well, you guys gotta keep in mind that if you guys just sit there and wait until it happens, it's gonna be a crisis. Now it's up to you if you want to wait and see what happens once fossil fuels and runs out. Or you can make this decision now and actually start thinking about buying a different car, or start getting solar panels, or whatever you guys want to do. The choice is yours. I'm not, Thank you.